Hello guys, Justin here, and this video is about 5 biographies every entrepreneur should read. All of these biographies are about people who not only achieved great business success, but also possessed the entrepreneurial spirit. So to start with my number 5 spot, we have Elon Musk by Ashley Vance. Obviously, Elon Musk is still alive today and doing very well, with Tesla share prices soaring higher and higher. This book was written in 2015 before Elon Musk got to that point, but even then Elon Musk had been very successful with SpaceX and was getting Tesla to the point of success. And this book really demonstrates how entrepreneurial Elon Musk is and how he started with just a software company called Zip2, sold that, and then he founded PayPal and sold that, and then he founded SpaceX and Tesla, which he still runs today. And both companies are pretty successful. Tesla's stock prices are very high right now. And he also sponsors other entrepreneurial ventures like SolarCity, Hyperloop, OpenAI, and he is just a very entrepreneurial guy who has not only achieved great business success, but also likes to start new ideas and achieve them and start new businesses. And I think it's a great inspiration for entrepreneurs. My number 4 spot is The Autobiography of Benjamin Franklin by Benjamin Franklin. Although Benjamin Franklin isn't solely known as an entrepreneur because he has done so many things, I think him as a man possesses the entrepreneurial spirit. And he's a great example of what an entrepreneur is and what the entrepreneurial spirit is, because he started so many different businesses and charities and also was involved with politics. When he moved to Philadelphia, he started the town's newspaper called the Pennsylvania Gazette, and that was a successful business. But not only that, he also founded a lot of charities like the local library and invented a lot of different inventions and also got involved with politics. And during the American Revolution, he helped develop the postmaster system to communicate, to help the revolutionaries communicate and take over the delivery of mail from the British, because before then the British were in charge of the delivery of mail, but Benjamin Franklin himself was able to develop that. So that's just one example of how entrepreneurial he is during the American Revolution, but with his newspaper business and his charities, he was always a person to start something new and even invent a lot of inventions. Number 3 spot is Losing My Virginity by Richard Branson. This is a great book because it demonstrates how entrepreneurial Richard Branson is, and he truly possesses the entrepreneurial spirit. He started his business at a very young age, and it was just a music business that he called Virgin Records. But he soon started so many different businesses and was very successful in many of them. And they were all put together into a new conglomerate called the Virgin Group. So Richard Branson was not only successful in the music business, he was also successful in the airline business, the telecom business, he even delved into space travel, but that's still developing, and the media business. And he's just a great entrepreneur who is able to really start a lot of new businesses and scale them and become successful at them at the same time with running so many other businesses. And I think one of the reasons why Richard Branson was so successful was he was really able to be nimble and not invest too much upfront and avoid businesses with too much asset intensity, because that way he could be more flexible and less capital intensive and focus on building a business without buying a lot of assets in order to scale the business. So he focused on businesses that you don't have to put a lot of investment in the assets up front. And I think that's important, because if you put up too much money up front with investments, that business is going to be a little riskier. And just for an example, you can look at the airline business, which is necessary. Everyone needs to fly, and airline tickets are pretty high for the most case. but because it's so capital intensive, a lot of airlines don't do well, and in the past a lot failed. But Richard Branson, when he started his airline, he leased the airplanes, and that allowed him to save money and not put up so much money up front. So if he failed, he wouldn't lose that much, and if he wins big. So I think Richard Branson's very smart because he's very nimble with how he conducts his businesses. The number 2 spot is Titan by Ron Chernow. And this biography is about John D. Rockefeller Sr., one of the richest men in history, and he was responsible for the Standard Oil Company, and he became, I think, the richest man during his time. And if you listed the richest men in history and adjusted by purchasing power, he may be at the top. I don't know if he would be at this point, but he is definitely near the top of the list. And this book really shows how dedicated John D. Rockefeller was to his work and how focused he was. And I think it's just a great biography to demonstrate the importance of work ethic in achieving success. And my number 1 spot, one of my favorite books of all time, is Steve Jobs by Walter Isaacson. And obviously this is a biography of Steve Jobs, founder of Apple, responsible for your smartphones because he invented the iPhone, which was the first smartphone. He also he didn't found Pixar, but he bought the animation group from Lucasfilm and developed Pixar, and that's responsible for a lot of the animated movies that we cherish today, like Toy Story and Cars and Ratatouille and Monsters Inc. and Finding Nemo, and so many great animated movies. And not just that, but he is responsible for a lot of the modern technologies we take for granted today. And a lot of that comes from Apple, which he founded in the 1970s. So before Steve Jobs founded Apple, personal computers were really a hobbyist kind of thing. Computer companies really marketed to the big businesses, the industrialists, for business purposes, and it wasn't really used at the home. And Steve Jobs completely transformed that with Apple. He directly aimed to market computers to normal people so that people can use this technology to create and to do their own things. And I think this is an example of how entrepreneurial Steve Jobs thinks, because he doesn't accept the status quo. He's always challenging it and see how things could be rather than how things are and adapting to it. Another example is the iPod. He's also responsible for the iPad and so many different things. He revolutionized the modern world, and that is why he is the number 1 spot on my list. So there you have it. Those are my 5 biographies I think every entrepreneur should read. If you want to read these books yourself, the Amazon links are in the description, so you could look at the description and try find the links yourself. And if you're new to this channel, we talk about great books, so subscribe and hit the bell notifications, and like and comment as well. Also, follow me on Instagram for more personal content, and you can DM me if you follow me on Instagram. And follow me on Medium, where I write more in-depth articles about books and book reviews. Thank you, and see you next time.